Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Style Snack. I'm April, and every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, I go live and share a snippet of style with you. And today, we're going to continue this series about seasonal color palettes. Last week, I talked about what they are and why they matter. And today, we're going to talk about the 4 seasonal color palettes and more specifically, about them. So, has anyone ever asked you what your color palette season is? Or have you heard other women talking about their best and worst colors, or just heard of the concept in general? Maybe you were able to dive right into the conversation, or maybe you smiled and nodded to go along with what they were saying and trying to pick up hints on the topic. While seasonal color analysis is somewhat widespread knowledge, not everyone has heard of it. And if they have, they don't necessarily know the ins and outs of the concept. Last week, like I said, I shared with you what seasonal color analysis is, why it matters. And today I'm going to walk you through the fundamentals of the 4 primary seasons. So, the idea of seasonal color analysis includes examining a person's coloring to determine which colors look best on them. Some programs only factor in skin tones, whether it's warm or cool, and others include eye, hair, and lip colors. And based on these factors, you're assigned to one of 4 color palettes based on a specific season: winter, spring, summer, or autumn. And this color palette is a collection of your most flattering colors. And discovering your best color palette is the fastest and easiest way to upgrade your style, because it has an immediate impact on how you look and feel. Just changing your top will change how you look, and you deserve to look and feel amazing. Wearing your best colors evens out your skin tone, it brightens your eyes, it makes you look healthy and vibrant, and it draws those compliments we all love. The colors from the other 3 seasons make you look tired, ill, or older. Your complexion looks washed out, ruddy, sallow, or dull. Getting your color palette right makes your outfits harmonize. Have you ever worn an outfit and wondered why something was off, why it didn't work? All the other style elements are perfect, but something is just well, it's probably because the clothing colors were a mix of the seasons, and they don't play nicely. So, what is your primary seasonal color palette? You may already know, and you may not. You may have a guess. Maybe you've never even heard of this. So hopefully that little summary was helpful. Seasonal color analysis, like I said, is centered around the 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and autumn. And the associated colors are reminiscent of the seasons themselves. That's how they got their names and their classifications. Spring and autumn colors are based on warm golden undertones, while summer and winter colors are defined by coolness. Most seasonal color palette programs provide general color palettes based on the 4 seasons, while others have their own color palette names and processes. But no matter which program you follow, the underlying concept is the same. Some colors look great on you and others don't. Some color systems are more expansive, some of them are simpler, but let's talk about the inspiration for the seasonal color palettes and what they mean. And here's a tip: look to Mother Nature during each season to clue you in to what colors are included. Let's talk about the winter color palette first. When the earth is finally sleeping, the colors become clear, stark, and bold, with red holly leaves and their glossy leaves, the glittering snow, The daytime sky is a brilliant blue, twilight is deep violet, and the night sky is so dark, it looks as black as space. And you can also look to traditional Christmas colors for the bold, clear hues of the season, like stop sign Santa red. No, we don't want Santa to stop, but you know what I'm saying? Stop sign red, Santa red, that clear, true red, that bold green, silver, and icy blues that reflect like frozen water, and it has that blue, or icebergs, it has that blue tint to it. Winter is a cool season and like cool undertones, not just cold cool. And it's defined by colors that are cool, bright, crisp, and clear. Bold pink, snow white, brilliant blue, true black looks stunning on those with a winter color palette. And they typically have a strong contrast between their features. Not always though. Oh, you know, I am not a trained seasonal color analyst, consultant, but as a winter, I can tell you, I was draped when I was 8 years old. My mom was into Color Me Beautiful. I was strawberry blonde. I had freckles. I was still fair skinned, but my hair has always had red undertones. And no matter what color I color it, it pulls red and it pulls it hard. So each program has that, you know, that's where some of them differ. They really consider hair color and eye color, and others don't. So I didn't always have high contrast. But if we're just talking generally, what are the characteristics considered winter? The eyes are clear, cool, and bright, and it can include any eye color as long as the undertones are not golden. Hair is dark and saturated or ashy. Someone with winter color season does not have natural highlights or golden undertones, which I made my feelings known. Skin has blue undertones and tends to burn more easily than tan. And even when you have a tan, pink tones are more pronounced than golden ones. Yes, I look red. So these are general concepts. They don't apply to every program. You know, they all have their own little spin on it, but I had to share my personal experience. I did not change seasons as my hair color changed. So what is the inspiration for the spring color palette? After a long winter, we are rewarded with the rebirth of the earth. And many of us, this is our favorite season. The crocuses are the first thing to pop up in my garden, and I look forward to them every year. It means that winter will end, because sometimes it feels like it never will. And soon we see a rainbow of even more of the bright and cheery colors that are poking up out of the ground and characterize spring. And so when you think of the spring color palette, imagine Easter egg colors and the cheery colors of tulips, hyacinths, daffodils, and forsythia. The spring grass is a bright green and the sky is a clear light blue. And we can't wait to sink our teeth into asparagus, cauliflower, carrots, radishes, and strawberries, because there are no, seasonal foods in winter. And there's nothing like fresh asparagus. And spring is the only time you can get it. The spring color palette is characterized by warmth, brightness, and clarity. And those with a spring color palette have golden undertones, and it can be slight and contrast with their features. So some of the physical characteristics of spring, generally accepted in certain programs. Skin is warm with golden undertones, and this can include a range of skin tones and depths. I think a common myth for seasonal color analysis is that it's only for fair-skinned people, and that is not true. It's for every skin tone and depth. Eyes are light with a distinct brightness and clarity. Spring eye colors include warm greens, blues, and even light warm browns. Hair has golden undertones. For example, light blondes and browns, strawberry blonde, and even medium brown could apply as long as the undertones are warm and not ashy. And if you wonder what ashy is, it's cool. And when it comes to like hair colors and things, it's kind of gray. So if you look at the shadows on like under cheekbones, they're not on any person. They're not golden. They're not tan. They're ashy. And I don't know if you can see that on my face, but that's what ashy is. Kind of has a gray. There's no warmth to it. The spring colors are saturated, warm, and have shades of coral, turquoise, warm coral, warm turquoise, and warm browns that will make a spring color, a woman with a spring color palette just look, her skin will look clear and radiant. Summer colors are soft, cool, and muted, and you can find the colors also in your surroundings during the summer. As the summer sun scorches the earth, the grass loses its vibrancy. You know, we can't keep up with the watering to keep the grass as green as it is in the spring and into the fall. Because it becomes a little bleached. The wheat ripens and is dried as straw. Corn and summer squash overstay their welcome and the stalks start to get that brown look to them. And honestly, corn stalks are not a vibrant green, or they're kind of a washed out green. We pick peaches and eat raspberries. Bouquets are full of the soft colors of hydrangeas, roses, salvia, and begonias. And likewise, those with a summer color palette look perfect in softer versions on the color wheel. Particularly summers can easily look overwhelmed by colors that are not in their color palette. They disappear. If they were wearing a navy as saturated as this, you would see the navy. And this happens to all seasons when you're wearing the wrong color, but I find that particularly summers are easily overpowered by colors that are too vibrant and saturated. Their undertones are cool, and everything is just slightly softened. The summer color season, you could also think of it as soft and delicate. They also have blue undertones. Soft grays and muted colors characterize the season. And the characteristics of summers include light, muted gray undertones with their eye colors. And that would be colors like a blue gray, a green gray, and a light hazel. Lighter hair colors such as blonde, dark blonde, or light to medium brown with golden undertones. And the hair has a cool ashiness. Another way to think about this, I don't know what I would call it, the cool and the warm, is if you think about blondes. When you dye your hair blonde, you can get that brassy golden blonde. You can get that warm golden blonde, and you can get that very cool clear blonde, like Gwen Stefani. It doesn't have to be that light, but I hope that gives you more of a visualization of what I mean by cool and warm, especially when it comes to hair. Their skin is cool and it's delicate. They're more likely to flush pink than develop a tan. Spring's tan and autumn's often tan well. But tanning or not tanning is also not a clear-cut thing. I know autumns who are fair and freckled and shouldn't step foot in the sun. So speaking of autumns, like spring, autumn is defined by warm golden undertones. And a big difference between spring and autumn is autumn is golden. The undertones in their palette are golden and deep, and spring is warm and clear, and I would more yellow rather than golden undertones. But another difference is autumn colors are deep and rich and less vibrant than spring colors. So what are the traditional autumn colors? Well, think about the colors of the changing leaves: deep reds, orange, gold, and burgundy. What foods are in season? Well, the fall harvest is in or coming in, and it's full of pumpkins, squash, tomatoes, pears, and peppers. And as far as food goes, fall is the season to eat. What plants are blooming? Mums, dianthus, sunflowers, and evergreen trees. And as the days and shadows lengthen, the blues get deeper and we get teal and navy. And if you haven't picked up on this yet, I love gardening and I love to eat. So I think in plants and foods. Autumn colors are warm and golden based, and they include things like ivory, buttermilk, deep shades of red and burnt orange, those deeper versions of colors than any of the other seasons wear. Their characteristics are similar to spring, but they're darker and deeper. So here's some characteristics of autumns. The eyes are warm toned like spring, but they tend to be darker. Hazels, warm greens with gold accents and flecks. Rich soft browns are often seen. Hair is dark with, that's not true. This is just what you hear, that it's dark with warm undertones. You can have light hair. Think of all the redheads out there. Not every redhead is an autumn, but you see what I'm saying. These are just generally accepted guidelines, but not everyone agrees. Skin tone is characterized by warm undertones, but not necessarily depth, meaning they don't always have darker skin, because any color palette can have darker skin, but they don't always tan and they don't always look tan. You can have very light skin and still be any season, and you can have very deep toned skin and be any season. And I think that's really important to recognize and communicate. So you may be asking, once I know my color palette, am I locked into these colors? Like, can I never wear a color from another season that I like? No, you are not locked into these colors. You can wear any colors you want to. The only style rule that I personally have is wear what you love. These rules are really just guidelines, and I always compare style rules to a toolbox. You have all these tools, or a food buffet. There are all these options to choose from. You choose the one that meets your needs. What looks tasty and delicious today? Which tool is going to help you accomplish? And some days you choose to break the rules, and some days you don't. And there's no fashion police who's going to come along and throw you in fashion jail. So wear what you love. But you also have the options of knowledge is power. And so when you understand how color affects you, you're making that choice consciously, and you're aware of the colors that work best for you and when you want that complexion boost, you can choose those colors. And maybe that's every day and maybe it's not. But if you're interested in using seasonal color palettes to look and feel your best, these are the colors to choose from and start with. Are there colors from other palettes you can get away with? Get away with is the key phrase here. And some programs talk about crossover colors that you can be, there are colors from other palettes that you can adopt and wear and still look really good. I personally, there are colors that aren't my best, but they're also not my worst. And there are other colors that make me look ghastly. And I do wear some of the colors that are not my worst because I like them. I do stay away from the ones that make me look ghastly because I'm not into ghastly. But you also don't have to have color palette envy. Some people say this color palette can never wear yellow, or you can't ever wear this color because of your color palette. And that is just not true. There is a version of every color for every color palette, and it's just a matter of learning what they look like. So you can find your version of yellow or teal or purple and get, or red, that yellow and reds and orange. That seems to be the ones that are get kicked to the curb for certain seasons. And it's just not true. I clearly have opinions about this. But you can find the best versions of these colors for you and get the best of all 4 seasons. The point is, once you know your seasonal color palette, you can decide on a case-by-case basis if you want to make exceptions and customize your own color palette, or investigate certain colors from other seasons and see how they work for you. And like I said, as always, wear what you love and wear what makes you look and feel your best. So now that we've covered all this, you may be wondering, how do I find my best colors? And I have a new course coming out this month that teaches you how to not only discover your personal seasonal color palette with my exclusive quick and easy way to find the best colors for you formula, and an in-depth explanation of your season. This was just an overall summary, just a general flyby. And so in the course, you'll get an in-depth explanation, and you'll learn how to identify your best colors without color swatches. I'll train you to see the colors with your eyes instead of holding them up, these color swatches up to close and looking for a perfect match, because that's going to limit you a great deal. There is an infinite variety of versions of each color for you, and you can learn how to see them without having to match something exactly. And that is key. It makes shopping so easy. And you don't have to carry around a swatch book, and you don't have to be dependent on that. You learn for yourself. The course includes color studies to teach you the nuances of the trickiest colors based on your personal season, including all the neutrals, because those can be, in my opinion, the trickiest. They're the foundation of every wardrobe and outfit, and the most important colors to get right so that you can look and feel your best in every outfit. And on top of that, the course teaches you how to find your best nudes for your skin tone. Despite what the fashion industry and retailers would have us believe, most people aren't the color of a peach crayon. Skin tone and skin depth also come in infinite variations. And it's important to the retail industry is finally becoming more inclusive in nudes. You know, anything almond color has been considered a nude for decades, and that is just not true. And they're finally introducing more versions of nudes from lightest to darkest, and this is well overdue. So finally this is happening, and you can learn how to find yours. There is nothing out there like this. You'll receive a complete seasonal color palette education customized to your personal season. Wearing your best color palette is the easiest and fastest way to improve how you look and feel your clothes. All you have to do is change your shirt, right? And I'll teach you everything you need to know so you know which shirt to put on, so the compliments that make you feel amazing start rolling in right away. And you can join my email list at stunningstyle.com/email. So you'll know as soon as the course is released. And we'll also drop the link here in the comments. Not only that, when you're on my email list, you get an email once a week. You'll get it today, letting you know when this video is live on my website. And it also includes the written text, so you can read it or you can watch it and you can see the photos. And you can look at it, you can reference it whenever you need to. So you can join my email list at stunningstyle.com/email and continue getting these style snacks. Okay, let's take a look at the comments. That's always my favorite part. Some of you, I can't see your name. It just says Facebook user, but someone's here. They say hello. Hello there. Denise says, I'm a spring. Well, hello, Denise. Kathy says, I was draped as a summer years ago. All online tests have me as a winter. You know, I have been hearing, as I've started talking about this, I've heard from several women that they've gotten conflicting answers about their seasons and that it's frustrating, and I can completely understand that. And you know, in the course there, this method that I created, the quick and easy way to find your best colors, is this. A lot of women have used it and they love it. It's simple. You do it at home, and they just are relieved to find their best color palette at last, whether they've had it done before or this is new to them. I'm sorry you're having that frustration though. Heather says, draped as a bright spring here. Okay, lots of springs here. This is Amy. I think I'm a winter, but I'm not completely sure. I tried draping myself, but I'm still trying to figure it out. Yeah, that can be really frustrating. You know, I'll give you a quick tip here. You tend to be drawn to your color palette. You can be there are a lot of shoulds living in our heads, right? People tell us what we should and should not wear, what we should and should not do or think or be, and their own preferences and ideas heavily influence what they say to you. And so it's not necessarily what you're actually choosing to wear. It's what makes your heart skip a little beat. And when you see it in the store or on someone, you know, you're like, oh, I love that. No, I don't wear colors that bright. And you step away from it. Or, you know, so there's a difference between that. It's that initial reaction of, oh, I love that color. It's not always the case, because there are colors that I love that are not in my color palette. Actually, no, I've found that's not. Lately, I've discovered that's not necessarily true. I like them on other people. But that initial knee-jerk reaction tends to be true. And then the second tip I'll give you is, when I put the wrong color on, I just feel unsettled. And when I put the right color on, I just feel home. Black, this deep navy, our deep brown are three of my very best colors. And when I put them on, it's soothing. And if I'm wearing a color that's not quite right, I'll just frown at it a little bit. And I'll keep looking at it, trying to make it look right. And I'll look at it in a different light, and I'll look away and I'll look at it. And I'm like, but I like pink. I like bright pink. That's bright pink. Maybe pink is your best color, and you think every pink is your best color, and it's not. Specific pinks are your best color. So those are 2 tips that may help you close in on it. Audrey says, I was draped as a spring in 1986, got an update soon after that I was a spring close to winter. Yeah, that and what Heather said about being a bright spring here. There are the 4 basic color seasons, and that's what I talk about in the course, because they're based on the program. There are like a bunch of subdivided seasons, and I personally find that overwhelming. Some people are really into it, and that's fantastic for them. And I love that for them. I like to stick to the 4 basic seasons, and that's what I teach also, so that you're not overwhelmed. And if you want to explore that later, you can. The spring close to winter is referencing those crossover colors that each, that you can share with another season. And I don't know how much you care to hear about what I agree and disagree with, but those 2 are, one is warm and one is cool. Like I said, I'm not a trained seasonal color analysis consultant. I just understand color theory and the color theory behind seasonal color analysis. And you're either warm or you're cool. So those are my thoughts on it. But you should do whatever feels best for you and what you agree with, because what I think doesn't matter. It's what you think. I can share tips with you, and then you can take or leave whatever feels right for you. None of what I say is gospel. These are just my tips and tricks and hints that I subscribe to, and you should listen to yourself. And then the bright spring that Heather referenced is, each one has a different one. Like, I think technically I'm a dark winter rather than a true winter, or a bright winter. And I have found I am more attracted to the dark winter colors, but I can wear any of them. Okay, let's see here. Fernanda says, I'm a cool summer and never liked black on myself. So I think we know our best colors somehow. It's true. And if it can be so hard to step out of those messages that have been beaten into us, just pounded into us, of what we should and shouldn't like, do, be, or wear. And I love that you've been able to tune into that. My daughter is a spring, and I've always let my kids wear whatever they want. When they were young, my son loved to wear his shirts backwards. And he was like 4 years old, and he had his underwear on backwards, which I think would be very uncomfortable, and it looked uncomfortable. And he did it every day. And I said, hey, why do you wear your underwear backwards? And he looked at me and he goes, so I can see the picture. That is sound logic. And if he feels good in that, great. And he did it with his shirts too. In fact, he was still doing it with his shirts in middle school. He just likes it. So go ahead. He's a junior now in high school, but he just doesn't care what people think. I love black. Love it. It is my soul color. And my oldest daughter is a spring, and she has never liked black. So I never dressed her in black. I never bought her black. And my kids have grown up just embracing what they like, wearing what they like. And they have color preferences, and I stick to those color preferences when I'm buying them clothes. And so that's a gift I hope I've given my children. I'm sure I've scarred them in many other ways, but at least I've let them express their individual style from hair to shoes, clothes. So that's a long way of saying, Fernanda, I love that you're able to tune into that. Audrey says, I was really thrown when I got the spring close to winter. The warm and cool at the same time made no sense to me. Yeah, it makes no sense to me either. You're either warm or you're cool. And then it breaks out into 2 seasons beyond that. So I don't get it either. Denise says, I have cool black hair and warm skin and eyes, so I need both cool and warm in my color palette. Well, that's interesting. And again, these are just my thoughts. I think that is why some programs just stick to skin tone, because I'm the opposite. I'm like 80% gray now. I color my hair, obviously, but I always had very warm hair from childhood. And when I started coloring, I always wanted to have dark brown hair. I've always wanted to. And my hair started bleeding out of that strawberry blonde and into that medium color, and I wanted brown hair. Every time I dyed my hair brown, it pulled red, and people were like, oh, you're a redhead. I'm like, no, I'm a brunette. I accidentally dyed my hair black one time. I used a different color of 6A. I used the ashy brown hair color, and my roots turned black. So I had to dye my whole head with it, and it looked like cherry cola. It still pulled heavy, heavy red. So that's why I personally think that skin is the determining factor. But again, I am not the ultimate expert on anything. Those are just my thoughts and ideas. Denise, I'd be curious to know if you tend to prefer warm colors over cool, or look slightly better in them, if you've noticed. Audrey said, oh no, I already read that. Oh no, Audrey says, my son wore orange, only orange all through middle school. Yeah. That same son of mine, he loves camo pants. He loves them. It's all he wants to wear. Last year he had 2 pairs, so he was constantly washing them. He wore them as often as he could. And so for Christmas last year, I bought him 7 pairs of camo pants. So he could have 1 for every day of the week. He said he only needed 6. And so we returned the others. And so he has 6 pairs of identical camo pants. He wears them every day. He wears them with anything. And his friends just love it. They think it's funny. It's his signature style. He just loves it. So I love the orange. That's a bold choice. I love that. And that you let him do it. So good job, Mom, because that's an extreme choice. And that's awesome. I love it. I really love it. Denise says, I look great in black and bright colors. That's fascinating. That's really interesting. And I love that you know what you look best in and that you embrace that. And I'll share one more thing, one more thought with you is I love the 4 seasons. I do also think that there are exceptions to just about every rule, and that there can be, because we're all so unique, right? There can be colors that don't necessarily fall strictly into your color palette that can look great on you. So that probably sounds conflicting to what I've already said, but I'm speaking in generalities with I'm speaking majority generalities when I'm talking about this, but we're all so unique. I don't think it's possible to drop everyone on the planet into 4 boxes, and that there's always room for individualization in everything. So I love that you shared that. Thank you so much, Denise. That's really interesting. So I appreciate all the comments and everyone sharing their experiences. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. And I want to thank you for joining me today. Those are all the questions and comments I see. There's a delay between you and me and you back to me. So I don't always see the comments come through, and sometimes they just don't come through. Denise says, agreed. We are all unique. We are. But I also agreed, like, there are general ideas that we fit into, and then it's we're all a little different though, based on that. So I want to thank all of you for joining me today. For those of you who are able to make it live, I love it. And for those of you who are joining us on the replay, I appreciate that you're joining us when you're able to. And I will see you again next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And again, you can get on my email list at stunningstyle.com/email so that you get notifications of when these style snacks go up live on my website, as well as when this color course is launched later this month. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful rest of your week.